Hello, welcome to my channel. It is good to have you here. My name is Gemma. I am a criminologist and I am a mother. And I am talking to you today about Illuminati, right? I'm going to talk about this. Let's talk about it logically, right? Woo! Right? So, for some reason I'm Gemma Tria 369, right? So let's break Illuminati down. Gematria is the high rise. What is that? Illumination, right? So they say in the Jehovah Witness Bible, that when you illuminate yourself, anything you've done wrong after that, you're in trouble for it, right? So it's almost like once you've illuminated, you've woken, that's when you sort of like take your karma, right? So I don't understand that, because I don't understand how you can put that in that context. So let's talk about that. So if you say you can't just illuminate and then that's it, like what we all in hypnosis, wake up then. That's the reality. That's how I see it. Like, obviously you don't have to be illuminated to be in trouble with the criminal justice system, for example, right? So this is why. So I don't understand about that. That would make no sense to me. Okay, it sounds like a ritual. Sounds like somebody's ritualizing us on that premise. Okay, so I'll tell you, I've been spiritually abused in my time. So let's understand, okay, illumination. Well, what is illumination? Well, it's an awakening, right? It's a rise, okay? Like, I think the Knights Templars talk about it. It's an occult, right? I think they talk about it, where like you rise in an illumination. This happened to me, right? So I remembered a lot of trauma and I rose from that experience, and it was really nice, actually. Thank you. I don't know how I had that experience, but yeah, it was really nice, right? And it was just peaceful, okay? And it was like I could be myself again. I could just go. It was like a weight lifted off me, and it was just like trauma. But it was like the best way I can explain this is like a Sophia. When a Sophia explodes, right? This is how the best way I can explain it to you. And but it's a fractal of energy. So it can be used in positive and it can be used in a negative. Now, I've had experiences where I've had it negatively used against me and positively used against me, right? So what is this? It's not a natural coincidence of order and reality. It's they're elders, right? They're elders, right? So wake up on that one. They're elders, right? So what happens with the initial understanding of rising, okay? Why do you rise? You rise because you let go of like all the pain that you've been through. You rise, you hit a crown, right? You hit I know energies. I know I'm safe now. Stuff like this. If you've ever been traumatized. However, like I said, it can be used against us. We can be fractured off into 1,000 pieces because of a traumatizing event that's happened to us. And through that traumatizing event, it can create more gateways, right, to fracture us. And I believe this is how they've done it. Whoever's done whatever, right? When it comes to things like hypnosis, stuff like this, like it's a mind work, right? And this is how they've done it. They fracture you, so you can't remember stuff, right? You can't remember stuff like, because I remember after being about 7, you don't remember much, do you? Right? So I think it depends though what kind of teaching you've had, whether you've had any hypnosis at school, right? So I think it could be a form of like hypnosis, right? So I know this as well because this happened to me when I was about 6, when I was at school, right? So it did actually happen. Some things happened to me at school, like hypnosis and stuff. So obviously I was not keen on school, and but I did like learning, right? So I liked learning, I just didn't like some of the stuff that happened in there. Right, so we can understand then through Scientology, right? Because I've left an offshoot of Jehovah Witness sat there. So we can understand that like this is actually can be used as a manipulation tool. And I don't know if the Jehovah Witnesses will like me saying this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I mean, they walk around with labels on them, and and that's how they like to get in your head. So all they're doing is trying to get in your head, right? And sometimes it can work, especially if you're going through like really low moments in your life. It can work. Like all they got to do is show you something, and then that's it. They can take you on a different course of reality, right? So this is how I know, because they've tried to frame me, not deframe me, but frame me. To what? to be an Illuminati queen. Well, that's a negative connotation. Why? We say it, illumination's down and then gematria is up. Well, let's listen to this. Illumination isn't up, it's a rise. After what you do then is your decision. You decide. But if this isn't where we live in, you know, we've got people overruling us, we've got people spiritually abusing us, we've got people doing these things to us to make us see certain things and events take place. And this is why. Because it's not a truth as well. You know, some of it ain't true. That's how you can tell it's a Scientology at work. And they're abusing the massive. And then they do it through like people who are trying to make a change in the world. Right? People who want to change stuff in the world, like my criminology, like that's why I went to school, that's why I learned, that's because I wanted to change, I wanted to know what was wrong so we could change it, right? So what on my journey, how I understand this is that there's a lot of people in this realm who are controlling over our factors. They're like handlers. Okay, all they got to do is, how many kings do you need? 9. That's it, right? For me anyway, because I'm gematria, so I just sit their eyes. So all you need is like 9 bad men around you, and that's it, right? Spiritually, okay? And then they just set you up by doing that. They set you up thinking that's normal, that's okay, da 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 da, and then they set you up, right? Or they're like, if you're in a bad way, they can do that to you then, okay? So I'm not saying that you know, it's all you. It's not. We've got elders in positions of power who are doing it, right? Right, so let's talk about our understanding, like how we rise, because you know people might be really popular, so you still got an handler, someone's still there handling you, right? If they want something, if they're interested in you, if you're a person of interest, then you know they're going to be wanting. They want to know what's going on around here. They want to know who you are, what you're about, and that. And it's right. This is how they do it. Because I'm like, this is why I have to explain it to you guys, because this is true. So let's get on to Illuminati. So illumination is a rise. You illuminate yourself. You are illuminating yourself, right? After you got to that point, you can choose where to go type thing. You can go up, down, around the corner, up the bend. That's your Kabbalah. But we understand that we learn our lessons through that Kabbalah, but afterwards, if we have people coming in, right, spiritually abusing us after, then you can tell they're trying to push you down in some spaces that they're there, where they are. So say like if you had a Kabbalah and it's got all the things to it, imagine if you had like 9 kings, or instead, right, this is how you can understand the Islam, not the Islam, the Muslim tradition is, because it's the 7 wives, right? So it's like a connotation to that. They all bring something to the table, right? So what happens if you get pushed down after rising from your traumas and get pushed down into the inverted state, and then you've got all these people on you and they're trying to do things to you and like sort of manipulate your reality, right? And this happened to me. But it was spiritual, you know. There was an energy that was just like really nice, and then there was an energy that was not very nice at all, and it was horrible. And it was just like, how are we supposed to rise from this? How are we supposed to learn anything from this? If this is the higher rise, can't you understand that I'm like a gematria, and I'm trying to explain this to you and bring this to you? 369. Like, if you understand the codes, the universe will control it. But what are you controlling? Are you trying to take away things that are good from people? Are you trying to manipulate good? Bad in people? Are you trying to enforce that? Like, if you are, then obviously there's something at play there. You need to figure your own Kabbalah out, or if it's your boss telling you to do it, you need to figure out what's going on there and why that's happening. So it's just like when you argue about illumination is a rise. Okay, because I've said this before, illumination is down, because you in the illumination, you're remembering trauma. It's sad, it's bad stuff. So you illuminate yourself with the trauma, right? It's an illumination. What? Bad stuff. That's it, right? It's an illumination, and then you rise away from that illumination, because you know what happened. For example, if a traumatized event happened to you and it whacked you back, like this is the reality. We can rise really high and illuminate ourselves away for knowing it's not good, it's negative, because it's trauma, so it's bad, right? And then you rise through it and you get past it, and then you feel good again, right? So it's kind of like an illumination of Illuminati is an illumination of what? Bad stuff, okay? So that can So you can make yourself aware of these things. They're apparent to us. If we remember trauma, that a lot of people don't want to, yeah? That's fair enough. I'm just trying to explain what Illuminati is and how you can go down into the depths and stay there, right? So a lot of people can illuminate themselves and go, oh, actually, no, this is right, even though it's wrong, right? Even though you was right? So you always have to connect culpability to like how it felt for you to somebody else, right? And I get this. But if you've got people on you trying to like diss you or like defame you even, right? And this happens in spiritual realms, okay? Understand, okay? This is why, like, you can have, well, this is why I'm explaining Scientology. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like, if you're going through a hard time and you can't function, like, say if you don't even know if like somebody's alive or not, right? And you say you love them or something and you don't know if they're alive or not, how do you think you're going to feel? You can be all over the place. You don't even know what's up or down. No, so when people put us in them situations, that's a form of abuse. When people's put in them situations, that's abusive. Okay? You have to understand this. You've illuminated yourself now to understand that person is hurting you, for example. There you go. It's an illumination. That's how we see it. The illumination can be a negative because people stay down there, or they make you stay down there. They punish you for it, even though you've grown up and you're like 35 years old and they want you to go back to being like a little kid and then sit there and blame you for stuff you haven't done. It's childish. It's absolutely weird. Like, this is an illumination though, isn't it? What is it? I'm illuminating myself to something bad that happened to me, but I'm going to let it go because I don't want it to affect me anymore. I don't want it to hurt me anymore. So you become bold and brave. You become part of that awareness of understanding, and that's it. But if you've got people handling you, right, or doing stuff to you, like in different parts of your life, breaking it down, like the Freemasons, breaking down family relationships, sisterhood, brotherhood, they're just breaking it down. What do you think is going to happen to your Kabbalah? Yeah, your Kabbalah's going to go smash, right? So this is a gematria telling you, right? This is what, this is what is the prime. How do you hurt a woman who's a gematria? Take her family, friends. Well, that's a mother energy. That's a matriarchal energy, right? So then, how do you hurt the man? Well, there you go. Same connotation, right? Why? Because it breaks your versions of your Kabbalah. Right? So they're breaking the versions in your Kabbalah. They're making you feel like, you know, you're not good enough for certain things, or you're not good enough to be this and that because they've told you, but then you know you are, right? So this is another thing as well. Like, if you know you're better than what they're saying that you are, then you just know, don't you? You just know, right? Don't get worried about it. Don't cry about it, because why? They know. They know what they've done to you. They know what they've done wrong. They know that they keep doing it as well. And they know that they're just going to sit there and laugh, shut the door on me, yeah? I know it happens a lot, right? But why? It's because they want to show a power of dominance over us. And this is the overarching factor of an illumination, okay? So Illuminati can be bad because in an illumination you can choose to go down the wrong path, which is what? Targeting people that shouldn't be targeted, power and domination, like taking the mick out of people that shouldn't have even been taking the mick out of in the first place. We should be respecting these people, these women or whoever that are coming in these doors that you're supposed to be like looking after. You know, you're supposed to be cooperating with these people under aspects of governance. You're not supposed to be competing with these people under aspects of competition. This person hasn't come to compete with you. Like, I'm not fighting with you. I'm here to cooperate with you. And if you don't see that and you just want me to compete with you, then that we're like loggers straight away. Okay. So when I walk into an aspect of governance, I expect like a cooperation to take place over a competition. Why? Because it's for the people. So, you know, when I understand aspects of like how to be in a high position, high paying position, what are your strategies? What, like, it does make me question like whether you are illuminated as well. And then in your illumination, you've just gone down the wrong path and gone to choose to hurt women and maybe and etc., or men or whatever, in an aspect of inverted states, just so you can like, keep your job. So what's going on right at the top then, right? This is why it's upsetting, because, you know, a lot of these people are taught how to do these things. They're taught in their roles to do these things to people, triangulate people and stuff like that. You walk into a job, that's it, you triangulate it straight away. You just had an issue with your car or something, and you're walking in, you just have to go with this person. Why? Because it's got nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with what you're talking about now. So when it comes to like examples like this, like, you just got to let go. Like, you just got to let go of that, because people don't even see you for who you are. They're just mad because something happened to them like 10 minutes ago. So this is the thing as well about being aspects of governance, right? Because when you're in governance, you're like trying to rise people. So how can you rise people if you're mad about something happen? You know what I mean? You have to have that caring and compassionate nature when we're in governance. When you're doing anything that like parlays to an aspect of cooperating for betterment of anybody, humanity, whatever, you're there to help somebody, or even just to understand a discourse. And this is why. So in like a discourse analysis, you would like really be there with cooperation because you want to understand it rather than anything else. It's just a form of understanding discourse. Okay, so like this is like how originally you can illuminate yourself to choose as you will and won't do. So illumination isn't necessarily down, but it is down because you're going down to remember bad stuff that happened to you, for example, or you remembered something, you've gone down, you've illuminated yourself for something. So this is why I say it's negative, but it's not negative completely because it's up to you then to choose what you decide. So to be illuminated, to be Illuminati, well, that's if they've gone off and done bad stuff, that's not an Illuminati. If they're not talking about brotherhood or sisterhood, connecting relationships, families together, talking about maternity and how that's like the goddess of, because they're the ones that carry the babies, right? So this is like a form of, this is a version in our Kabbalah, a green, a Venus. This is the Freemasons, right? And this is why it's important for us to recognise that that is a part and function in our lives that we're supposed to keep together. Okay, so you can call me Illuminati Queen all day long if you want. Call me a bad woman all day long if you want. But let me tell you now, I know all about this. I know all about your Scientology. I know all about your, your plans. Yeah, I know about your plans. Right, and it's just, it doesn't make any sense because what happens is a deviation that takes place at the top with a moral high. They're the ones who are supposed to hold their moral high compass. They're supposed to be the high class who hold the moral high compass. When you walk into that room and you see those people, do they resemble that? Do they resemble that moral high compass? Right? Nobody's perfect. I'm not saying that everybody has to be perfect when they walk through there. All I'm saying though is that if your moral high ethics and codes and conducts, if they're not as high as your wage, then what are you doing there? Like, or like if your moral high compass isn't satisfactory to what you're doing, why are you there? Why are you in that role? What is your reason? Because it always has to parlay. Because if your moral high ethics, codes and conducts can parlay with your high ranking status, or whatever, then it should be a not top down effect. Okay, but if it isn't, then we just see a fall in our states. This is why it's so important for all these people who are high paying, high ranking, to have a position of moral high code and conduct. If you're acting or trying to manipulate people, and you're not good in your moral high ethics, but you're getting paid loads of money to do it, what is that going to end up trickling down into our society? It's going to end up deforming our society. Okay, deforming it. Like there has to be some sort of like gauging narrative where we understand this. Okay, you can see by their work what type of people they are. Okay, you can see, like, not on paper but how they act, what they're about, what their morals are, how they approach people who don't have much. For example, the waiter, right, at a restaurant, you treat her how you'd want to be treated. Okay, so this is sort of a similar resemblance because they're the ones who probably would give down the wisdom or the understanding maybe to that person randomly. You have no idea why, but you just passed a lot of knowledge saying something, or like being that person, that high prestige. Okay, it's deserved. Okay, then it's deserved. The high moral ethics, codes and conducts, then it's deserved, isn't it? That money is deserved for you. But if it isn't, then it isn't deserved. And I know people don't like me for saying this. I know people are gonna like want me to be in trouble for this, but at the end of the day, the way I see this is that you have to have, you can't go around manipulating people using things like AI. You shouldn't be able to do that, like using mirror magic, because I've had a cultist on me because I said I was an advanced cultist in 2020. So since then I've had a cultist against me. Okay, I don't know why, but I'm here to bring knowledge to you and awareness, and also under the guise completely, so wholeheartedly, like protecting children, right? So this is why. That's why I'm here, right? And it's really about illuminating ourselves to that matter of fact. And I think the reality shows a complete misunderstanding between me and whoever wants to do this to me. It's quite frankly sad and very disappointing to look and see and understand the reality. So let's finish this off. Illumination can be a down because you have to fall to remember stuff. We rise in a knowing. If we illuminate ourselves, it can be good or bad. It's a form of illumination. Okay? People are in power, people have taken over like fractions in our society of aversion. That's become inverted, right? So it's not about associating words, names, stuff like this. It's about really understanding the fact that to pull a society up as an architect, we want to pull versions up. We want to hold versions up. We want to pull them up because they're the righteous ones. Okay, in the end, well, it's a version. Okay, like family is important. Yeah, Kardashians talk about it all the time. Okay, well they show us, even though they're arguing, they show us the inversions, but they show us the true version, which is what family's important, right? No, nothing's perfect, like I said, right? Nothing is, but it's just, and obviously it's entertainment as well, obviously for them guys, though, because they've, there's obviously other stuff going on, but just wanted to point that out. For example, like as and to then conduct and so let's get back onto the Illuminati. So then it's like illumination. We illuminate ourselves with just an aspect of observation sometimes. Okay, people want to slay it a lot, and then you've got to question yourself, why would you do that? Are you doing it to your own family? Is that how you treat your own family? Slay it and that. Then you got to just think, like, obviously sometimes you always come back together again. Do you know what I mean? That's what they show us. Okay, that's what the Kardashians showing me. They always come back together again. So there you go. Makes sense, right? So that's all I wanted to say about that. But in an aspect of illumination, or do we illuminate ourselves? Where do we go to illuminate ourselves? Well, it's within you. Okay, so if people want to overstep on you because they've got something else going on in their world that they have to dominate on you, then remember it's a form of power and control, and that's all they're going to get out of it. Power and control. Like they want to control you because they know they have the power to. Now that can be good or bad, and they usually target people who are, because they want to justify what they've done. That's why. You just sit there and just wonder, you're all just justifying what you've done, so you can justify it. Yeah, we got her, it's a witch hunt. Yeah, but I can understand in at the end why it's so sad, because there's so many inversions in your family units, in your MPs, in them lodges. I've heard so many stories about it. It's quite disgusting, really. And then I've heard like what's going with the MPs and stuff like this, not being able to stop the war, the ceasefire. So there's a lot of things that, it's really sad, but it's almost like it's out of their control. It's out of their control. So who's in control doing this, right? So it looks like, to me, it functions as a society of being broken down, but there always has to be a place for them, because otherwise it wouldn't make a society a whole, like an architecture would understand. So, for example, let's finish it off. These are all functions in our society that make it work. Can we do away with it? Everyone's lost. Well, we have to understand that with this version it has to be a version in our reality, and society is supposed to mirror that to us so that we can follow their guide. Okay? When they don't, what happens? Everything disperses and breaks, right? Nothing stays together. Everything just breaks. Okay? So eventually, as a come down from an arrow man, if you want to call it, because he wanted de-evolute, right? You understand that in the end, when he's done that, everyone's like, what do we need to do now? Well, we need to create again. We need to create function in our society again to make it work. So why would you break it in the first place?